This video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to make this stylish two-piece sheer dress with a crunchy sleeve and also how to make a short. So for this particular tutorial, I made this dress for a teenager. So that is why it's fitted this way on the mannequin. So now let's go ahead to make our dress. So here's the pattern that we cut out in our previous tutorial. I'll be starting with the shorts. So for this particular tutorial, when I drafted this out, right, I didn't blend the upper part of the back pattern, so I'll just go ahead to blend it out and cut out. Now after transferring my measurement, what I'm going to do now is to join my pattern. So this is the front pattern. I'll go ahead to pin it and I'll stitch it with 1/2 inch, joining the middle part. That is the crotch area of this short, and I'll also go ahead to join the back too. Like I'm going to place the crotch of the back and I'll join it with 1/2 inch, join that of the front. So after I'm done joining it, I'll place each other side by side this way, and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch, joining it by the side, and also stitch this with 1/2 inch. Then after joining, I'll go ahead to fold the lower part of the short. So now I've gone ahead to do that, and this is the result that I have. So this is what it looks like. So I left one side unfinished so that you see how I folded the lower part. So this is it. You just go in and you're going to fold and top stitch on it, and stitch on it rather. So now the next step you're going to take is to cut out the band and also join the remaining part of the short. So I'll place the front and the back together and stitch with 1/2 inch all the way to the other end of the short, right? Place the midpoint matching and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch. Now I'll go ahead to do that, but I also want to cut out my band. So for my band, I'll measure what I have round the waist of this shirt, and you'll be cutting out a band for it. So remember, we minus 2 inches from this dress, so the band will be 2 inches. So this is my band, and my band is 5 inches, that is 2 inches on fold, and then the total length of the waistline plus extra 1/2 inch. So I'll just go ahead and join it, then I'll go ahead to iron it down this way. Now I went ahead to join it and I have ironed it out. So this is what I have. Now I want to notch the center of this band and also notch the joining. The joining will be at the back of my trouser. Now on this part, I'm going to be inserting an eyelet to one part of it. Just want to run about 2 stitches on it. You can use like 3 lines to create your band. So at the lower part, after the 1/2 inch, I went up a bit and I added an eyelet. That is where my rope will be passing. So I'll just use my eyelet machine to add that to the band of this short. So after I was done doing that, this is what I have. If you notice, the eyelet is only at the front part of the band and it didn't get to the back of this band, right? Now what I'll do is I'll start measuring 1 inch, and after that I'll measure another 1 inch line. So this 1 inch I'm measuring now will not get to this space where I have this eyelet, because I want to leave that space there. That is where I'll pass my elastic. So now if you don't want to sew 1 inch, you can sew like 1/2 inch. The first 1/2 inch you add an elastic, second one you add like another elastic, then the last one you add your rope, right? But for me, I just want to add one elastic and make a rope out of my fabric and add. So my band is like 2.5 inches on fold, so that means the extra 1/2 inch I have will be serving as a joining allowance, because we minus 2 inches from the measurement of the shirt. After marking this, now I'll go ahead and stitch on it following those lines. So this is what I have after stitching. So I measured my elastic. Please measure the person's waist and then reduce it a little because it's an elastic. Now I'll pass it through the middle point, that space that I left, and I'll pass my elastic. So after passing it, I'll come out at the other side this way. So what I'll do is the other end of the elastic that I have, I'm going to go ahead to bring it out. Now I'm going to go ahead to tie the elastic. You can go ahead to stitch on it, but I don't really trust the stitching part. I just feel that it's going to loosen with time, and I'll just go ahead to tie it and then drag it in this way so that it will go in to that first line. So this is the band. Now I made a little rope with my fabric. I'll pass 15 pin through the rope, and I'll now open this band up and I will pass it on the other 1 inch that I made also. Now I'll pass this all the way around to get to the other side. So after I'm done passing, this is what I have. Now I'll open up the band this way, then pass the rope through the eyelet, then pass the other rope also through the eyelet. Now this way we have made an opening to pass our rope. So this is what I have on this part of my band, and at the back there's no eyelet. The eyelets did not cut across the back of the band. So this is what I have now, and what I'm going to do is to go ahead to attach this to the shorts. And this is the shorts. Right now what I'll do, remember I notched the back where I have the joining. I'll pin it this way and also pin the notched part of the front, which I'll be joining with 1/2 inch. I'll go over to the machine and I'll stitch it from the wrong part of the fabric. While stitching, I'm just going to drag the elastic band to meet up with the waist. So after I was done sewing the shorts, I moved over to the blouse. So I'll be showing the result of the short and the top at the end of the video. So now this is the upper part of the top, which is the ruched area, right? So if you watch the cutting tutorial, you understand how we got this. This is your pattern cut on fold for the front, and you also do this for the back. Go ahead to fold the upper part and the lower part of your dress. So we'll be cutting out the scrunchie sleeve. So what I have here is about 9 inches, and to get the length is, you see where this top, the sleeve started, where it will start on your dress, measure it all the way around your neck to where it will also stop on the chest line or above your chest line. So now what I'll do is I went ahead to place the joining at the center at the back of this band that I made for the ruche, so, or for the crunchy sleeve. So what I'll do is at the center I'll stitch about 1/2 inch on both sides at the center, which I'll be passing an elastic through. So let's move over to the body of this dress. I went ahead to fold the upper part and the lower part. Now to make a smoked or sheer dress, you're going to run line of elastic thread underneath it. Now what I'm doing is I'm marking 1/2 inch. Now you're going to mark 1/2 inch all the way through your pattern from the upper part to the lower part, and you're going to join those lines. Now you're going to be using 1/2 inch to do that, right? But if you feel it's going to be stressful for you, use 0.75. Please do not use 1 inch. If you use 1 inch, it will be too wide, or it might not really give you the look that you want. So I'm making use of 0.5 inches. Now I'll mark this all through my blouse length, and I'll go ahead to like run my stitch on it. So now you'll be needing your elastic thread also for that. So I'll just go ahead to run my lines off the camera because it took time for me to actually mark those lines out. Another thing is I want to show you how to like reel your thread, your elastic thread. So you don't have to like use the reeler on your machine. What you do is just take it out and go ahead to use your hand to reel it this way. The reason why I'm doing it this way is so that you don't go ahead to like overstretch your elastic thread, so that when you sew it, it's still going to have that sheer effect. After reeling this, so all this line that I marked, I'm going to complete it, and I'm going to follow these lines, and I'll be stitching on it. You use your normal thread on the upper part, but use this smoky thread at the lower part, and you're going to follow those lines line by line. So after doing that, you'll be stitching also for your back pattern too. The back pattern and the front pattern is similar. All you have to do is fold it up and also stitch on it. There's no much difference. I'll go ahead to stitch on it, and after I was done stitching on both the front and back, this is what I have. So now I'll turn the right side facing the right side, and what I'll do is to stitch with 1/2 inch on both sides of my dress. So if you drag it, this is what you have. Now after I've gone ahead to like join it, I'll go ahead to turn this to the right side. The next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to add this elastic band to the center. So if you notice, I ran 2 lines at the center of this band. So sorry, I did not give the measurement for my band. So for the measurement, I cut out 9 inches. So for the length, right, how long I cut out, measure from where your blouse is going to start to the neckline. So whatever you have, multiply it by 3 to 2 inches, so that by the time you add your band, you will have like a ruche effect. So what I did was just to pass my elastic, and I carefully passed it at the center, and after that, this is what I have. So for the elastic, you can use something that you're comfortable with. Just measure what you're comfortable with, so that it won't be too tight on the neckline. So I folded it in this way, and I'll pin it down and then top stitch on it. I'll go ahead to attach it with my machine. So after I was done stitching, this is the final look of this dress. So I actually made this short for a teenager, so it was a little fitted. The outfit was a little fitted on my mannequin, because I worked on a teenager, and the mannequin was on a bigger size than that of the teenager's measurement. So this is the final look of the dress.